Milton Keynes. The impact people of black heritage have made on the city is hugely important. However, many of those achievements remain unknown, something that people in Milton Keynes are trying to change, as Sophie Wiggins reports.
My name's Albert Bernard.
My name is Reverend Joyce Vassell.
My name is Yao Asiyama.
In 1970, when I was 7 years of age, my parents moved from Nevisville in London to Milton Keynes, and then a few years later in 1984, I joined Thames Valley Police.
I moved from Jamaica to England when I was 14 years old, and I moved to Milton Keynes in 1980 with my husband and my 2 children. I am a writer, I'm a preacher, I'm a pastor.
Ghana created me and prepared me. Milton Keynes baked me, and I am a creative. I'm an artist, a poet, a lyricist, a playwright, a chef, a father, a husband, and me.
When we look back at the archives in years to come, it's important that the vital contributions of black people show up in the history of Milton Keynes.
This is interesting. It's a photograph of me joining the police service on the day I've joined.
Oh, wow. And that's why people like Albert are sharing their stories. He's retired now, but as an officer he worked tirelessly to improve the lives of residents here and build positive relationships with the police, including in the Lakes Estate where he grew up.
And people would have a mixed reaction of how they have when they saw me. Some would be good, some would be bad. I was technically the only black face within a predominantly white organisation.
And what was that like?
Daunting, exciting, knowing that I wanted to do something that I could have a sense of achievement for, that inspired me to continue.
Albert, Joyce and Yao are all part of a project focused on finding the hidden stories of the city, which have been displayed in the local library. Joyce used to be part of the Milton Keynes Development Corporation and was involved in a project to encourage business leaders to move their headquarters to the new city. However, she spoke to us about the racial abuse she was subjected to on her doorstep, something that led to the creation of a community club for young black people.
When we first came, they threw eggs on our windows and tell us we must go home, and we had a lot of problem. But we were lucky to have great neighbors. So the real reason for the youth club is that a number of parents felt our children need their own identity. They need to know who they are, and they also need to feel that they're important. To this day, those children are still friends.
And someone else who has paved the way is Yao. He was the very first person to bring a fashion show to Milton Keynes after moving from Ghana, and has been a creative force here ever since. Whether that's cooking at his African food stand, where each customer gets an original poem, using creativity to help young people who are struggling, or hosting an art exhibition.
I saw Milton Keynes as a city of second chances. Lots of people came to Milton Keynes because things were not working in London or Birmingham, or they wanted an opportunity to be. I mean, I remember I used to go to Milton Keynes Theatre. I said I wanted to put a play in the theatre, and they said, well, we don't have a white-black uptake on theatre. And I said, there's only so much Snow White on Ice we will watch. We want to see things on stage that have people like us in it. And I proved it. I wrote my first big play when they were called A Slave Story, and we sold out the theatre. And I think it is great for the wider community to know what we, that other community, have brought to allow the continuity of Milton Keynes.
Pioneers within the black community, and just a few of the many stories helping black people growing up here to know that they do have a legacy in the city, and an incredibly rich and important one at that.
My hope for Milton Keynes is that men, women, children, whatever we are, can function together as one, because we are all human beings, and we can come together and we can learn to love each other, and we can learn to appreciate the diversity.
I would like there to be a future when a child or grandchild of mine will be surprised that at one time in history it was relevant for people like me to state that Black Lives Matter.
I think that actually by having moments like this inspires a lot of individuals of colour to actually think there's a big wide world out there. Anything is possible.
Sophie Wiggins, ITV News, Milton Keynes.
Finally from us tonight, 2